everyone, thanks for being with me. It shouldn't be a surprise to all of you that I'm about to go down that rabbit hole again, where I'm going to look at the crazies of this world and how they have attempted to influence the rest of us about their bizarre beliefs. In particular, I'm going to look at a woman by the name of Teresa van Lysart, who, for reasons which I cannot explain, considers that the government is corrupt, that they're all pedophiles and that everybody should be locked up. Every politician, that is, because apparently if you're a politician you are the worst of the worst. Now, I'm the first one to admit that there are some terrible people who get into politics, and I won't bother listing them all here because it'll simply take too long. But what I will say is that not every politician is bad, not every politician is a pedophile, in fact, if any, and not everybody is that corrupt that they need to be locked up. Even though I guess Robo-Debt and the pending commission, the corruption commission into Robo-Debt might prove something a little bit different, and maybe we'll find at the end of the day that Morrison, Roberts and others are all liable and could in turn, I guess, be locked up. However, there is a process that determines whether or not people are corrupt and whether or not they should be locked up. Now, in this particular case, it is important for us to acknowledge that this woman has potentially, allegedly, committed a crime by wanting to overthrow the government. Now, wanting to overthrow the government is not necessarily a crime within itself. There are lots of people who'd like to overthrow the government who are unsatisfied with what the government offers, and what politicians offer. But not everybody actively goes about trying to overthrow it unless you're Donald Trump and part of the MAGA movement. Heaven forbid if that comes here. But people like this woman are close, very close, I think, to instilling some of these ideas in vulnerable people who will in turn take action and may at some point cause disruption to our governmental processes and the rule of law. Now, she hasn't, because she has no real influence or power. She is simply a person who's a part of the community. But there may come a time when a politician, and there are a number that I could name, who could be influential enough and have enough support to be able to do what this woman attempted to do. Now, I'm going to show you an article from the Advertiser which talks a little bit about what she's done, how she's attempted to do this, and what it may mean to her at the end of the day. So, in this article, far-right political candidate Teresa van Lysart tells SA Court she wants to stand trial over alleged plot to overthrow the government. A far-right former political candidate who allegedly plotted to overthrow the government and refuses to accept she has a mental illness has fired her lawyer and demanded to be tried by a jury of her peers. Now, the fact that she wants to be tried by a jury of her peers is her prerogative. She's entitled to have a conversation with her lawyer about who it is she wishes to be tried by. In our state here, that's quite legitimate. Her belief is that a group of her peers, that is, people who hopefully see have the same worldview as she has, will be able to decide in her favour. Now, she probably would have been better off at going to a judge, because at the end of the day, these 12 people, her so-called peers, are likely to think that she's crazy, and this is going to bring about an outcome which she simply doesn't want, whereas a judge is more likely to see it more even-handedly and apply the law accordingly. But no, she believes that her peers, those people who she is fighting for, will believe in her. She told Adelaide Magistrates Court she has been arrested. Fair enough. She's supposedly committed a crime, detained, drugged, who knows, prosecuted, and she may, I do tend to agree that she may have been drugged, because the psychiatric profession clearly got involved in an assessment of her, worked out that she has got some mental well-being issues, is delusional and so on. Now, I have an issue with her being drugged. Don't think she should have been drugged. She may have delusional ideas about how to change a government, which clearly she does. But, you know, there again, I'm okay with the fact that that's her belief system. And if that's what she wishes to believe, then that's fine. So be it. But when you take actions in order to activate those ideas, as she has done, then that becomes problematic. So she goes on further to say in this article, she has implied right to freedom of speech, she's the leader of a political party, and she is being persecuted harshly. She said, "You are stealing my free speech and my political rights. It's disgusting." She's accused of importing, and this is the issue here, she's accused of importing 470 fake police badges to recruit an alternative force and arrest the members of federal parliament. Now, I don't mind saying this, but that's against the law. You can't actively do something, well, it's allegedly against the law. I'm assuming that this is the reason why she's been arrested. She actively tried to recruit a whole group of people who were going to use these false badges to walk into Parliament, to arrest politicians, to overthrow the government. Now, if she'd been able to do that, it would have been an insurrection and created havoc. Now, in this country, it's not like the United States, thanks God, where they kind of allow some of these things to happen, it appears. But it would have caused devastation. It would have been destructive to Parliament, and it would have, I hate to say it, but some lives may have been lost if she'd been able to go ahead with the plan. So clearly, people like her need to be stopped, and they need to be called out for who they are. Another issue that I have that is really important to highlight is that there are more like her. There are more and more Theresas around. And there are many people who may take up the mantle and might think, well, okay, this is a good idea. Let's go out there and try and take over the government. Everybody should be doing this. Let's get more and more people around. Let's gather those people together. Let's become more woke. Let's insist that day is near, that the QAnon theories about the Great Awakening are just around the corner, and we, like Theresa, need to get together and do just that. Well, if there are enough people thinking like that, then that's going to be hell on earth. And the rule of law will go down the gurgler, and will be governed by a bunch of crazy people who insist, even though basically they think they're Christian, they do believe that their Christian beliefs hold sway in an array of really strange ways. For example, that they could kill and execute those people that they disagree with. So let's see what happens in this case, but be mindful there are many more Theresas around, and we need to make sure that we know who they are. Thanks everybody for being with me. Take care, look after yourselves, and be safe.